Hello and welcome back to another exciting episode of Red Dot Forum Camera Talk. Welcome to our first Camera Talk of 2026.
That's right. Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year. Hope everyone had a great holiday season. Happy New Year. And to all those people freezing in not Florida, well, you know.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah.
It's a balmy, 78 degrees right now?
Quite warm and sunny today.
It is. So, well, best wishes to all our
Be safe out there.
Our chilly friends.
Those icy roads are dangerous.
Although, truthfully, what I miss most about being in Florida is the wonderful photographic opportunities that you have in winter and snow. So go and stay warm and have fun taking pictures. Okay, so
who are you?
I am David Farkas. I'm joined, as always,
You get off track there, yep.
by my co-host Josh Lehrer.
Hey, everybody.
And of course, I always get that wrong. There is Jose Rovira producing the show.
Hello.
So welcome back, everyone. Today, we are talking about something that I'm actually kind of surprised that we've never touched on this before in all of our 100-ish episodes because it's so fundamental to photography.
That is true.
What is that, Josh?
We are talking about viewfinders.
Yes.
What more, or how much more distilled can you get than the thing you see when you take the picture? So this episode is all about the different kinds of viewfinders in the Leica catalog and where they work best, where they fall short, what you see when you look through them, all the different flashy things and lines and shapes and colors and magical things. We obviously have a lot of different options.
Yes.
In 2026.
Yes.
For viewfinders. Internal, external, optical, electronic, rangefinder, mirrors, prisms, you name it, we have all of it. So the goal for tonight's show is to try and help you decide when is the appropriate opportunity and time to use each different kind of viewfinder, or if you're thinking about adding a camera to your arsenal, how you decide, do you want a camera with an EVF? Do you want a camera with a rangefinder, or everything in between?
Yes.
There's a lot to cover. We welcome everybody's questions.
Yes.
This is a good episode to get involved in, I think, if you're watching, because a lot of it is very personal.
Sure. I mean, different people have different preferences, right? And even before the advent of electronic viewfinders, which obviously we find ourselves in that age, not just in Leica, but in the overall market in general of where cameras are at, just kind of rewind that back to the age of, of where Leica was. And there was always more than one viewfinder option. So not always.
Not always,
okay.
but for a very long time. For a very long time, yes.
For, let's say, the majority of Leica's history.
Yes.
There has been more than one viewfinder option. So, of course, everyone knows about the M, which is a rangefinder, but also along the way they had, and you can pick that up, they had our system.
This is not an R episode. I don't want to hear it, but I do have an R camera on the table.
Yes. And that is a single lens reflex, meaning there is a prism and a mirror, and you're looking through the lens. And the rangefinder, just to reiterate this, kind of the basics here, you are not looking through the lens. You're looking through a separate optical viewfinder and then focusing using a rangefinder mechanism. But the view is not through the lens. And that was kind of a critical distinction between SLR and rangefinder.
Yeah.
And now mirrorless sort of blurs that line because it's the modern equivalent of an SLR where we have electronic live view through the lens. But instead of going through a mirror and a prism, we are now feeding that information directly off of the camera sensor, which gives us a WYSIWYG, or what you see is what you get kind of experience. And that has a number of advantages, the same way that the traditional optical SLR did.
Yeah.
And Leica's last SLR, because I see it over there, is?
The S3. So Leica has not made a 35mm SLR since 2009.
Correct.
The S system kind of slotted into its place from there until about 2020 or whatever was discontinued. The last in the line was the S3, which is their 64 megapixel medium format digital SLR. So this camera still has a pretty significant sort of cult following. because it has what arguably is the best optical viewfinder that Leica has ever made in terms of like an SLR type of experience. And it is, if you've never looked through one of these things, it's amazing. It's huge and it's bright and it's just very, very easy to use, as one would hope from a camera of this form factor. So, alas, the S system is, what's a nice way to say
Shelved?
it? Yeah, shelved. There we go. For the undetermined amount of time until one day we get a successor, which will, according to Leica, which they said publicly, be mirrorless.
Right.
Meaning it will not be an SLR. So this may be the last SLR Leica has ever made. I would imagine so, which is, I don't know, kind of sad. But thankfully, we have some great options still amongst other viewfinders in 2026, of which we have gathered a selection of, and we will talk about. I think we should probably talk a little bit about the rangefinder first.
Okay.
Since that's
kind of Leica unique.
That's really what makes, I think, Leica stand out more so than a lot of their other qualities. So,
well, this is a perfect segue.
It is.
I know we're jumping ahead.
What?
Where is that thing that you brought? Oh,
this
right there.
thing?
Yes, because it is actually about the thing.
Oh, okay. So you want to promote this now?
Yeah, why not?
All right, so
we'll announce it.
Well, right. So if you're not familiar with our in-house apparel brand, Red Dot Wear, we have a new addition to the Red Dot Wear line, which is perfectly suited to the conversation we're about to have about rangefinders, which is this lovely. Wait, it's upside down.
Yep, you're doing great.
I'm doing amazing. Ta-da!
Can you
look at that? Look at that.
Okay. So, can you all see what that says?
Well, Jose will link to it in the chat.
Right. So, the Masuker means rangefinder in German. Yay! And that's
so
an M3.
This is like a super high quality. If you've never used or handled one of our Red Dot Wear shirts before, they're all like super, super high quality, made in America, designed locally.
Tri-blend.
Yeah, this is a really, really nice t-shirt. So
I live in these at home.
If you want to get a super cool piece of Leica swag and you want to support us, this is a great way to do it. Yep. Jose will drop a link in the chat. So yes, rangefinders.
Rangefinder.
Many people, I think, would justifiably say that Leica is rangefinder and rangefinder is Leica. And I think that is true for the most part. I mean, there is this sort of really, really strong bond between rangefinders and the Leica as a company. I don't know if anybody's making rangefinders today. Probably some companies doing something on a very small level, but to the level that Leica's doing it, where we're talking about multiple cameras in the digital realm, multiple cameras in the analog realm, all using the optical rangefinder, nobody's doing that right now. So everything really started in the way that we know it with this. Now, we have a whole episode on Analog M, and I'm not going to rehash that now, although we will eventually redo that show, I think. But
probably
Leica M3, the first M camera, first production M camera. And the M3 has a very unique viewfinder. It is the highest magnification viewfinder that Leica has ever put into a rangefinder. And what that means is it's the closest to what your eye see, because every rangefinder camera has what you could think of as a negative magnification, or if you want, it's not written that way. It's a fractional representation.
Yes.
So you're seeing more than your eyes normally see. So a 1.0x magnification would match what you're seeing without anything in front of your face. So this camera has a...
Well, let's be clear. That's basically what electronic live view is a 1x view.
Yeah, yes, correct.
Right,
kind of.
What you're seeing through the lens is what you're
getting. The Q343 is a 1x view, because that's a 40...
It is, yeah. It's
anyway,
but yes.
The M3 has a 0.91x magnification viewfinder, which is, again, the closest to a 1x finder that Leica has ever put in a rangefinder. And the advantage is that the rangefinder focusing patch is as large as it's going to get. So the more magnification your rangefinder has, the larger the rangefinder patch will be. The larger the rangefinder patch is, the easier it is to tell when the rangefinder patch is in alignment, and therefore your images are in focus.
We have a visual aid if you would like to use it.
Yeah. Well, let's give it a second. Before we get there. The thing about, the downside to that much magnification is it limits how wide you can go. Meaning, if you are going to see the frame lines for a wide angle lens, you inherently need a wider angle viewfinder to see it. Mm-hmm. So the widest lens that the M3 has a frame line for is 50 millimeters. If you've ever seen one of those lenses with the goggle attachments on it, like a 35, that's because that attachment is demagnifying the M3's viewfinder to allow you to see a wider field of view. And this is the reason that the .91 didn't make it to the future generations.
Right.
Because it made it very difficult to use anything wider than 50 millimeter. We have some cool footage that Brandon, our colleague
make
Brandon,
it very clear, actually.
shot through the viewfinder of the M3, which we can spool up right now.
Yeah, but you can stay, Jose, I guess put it on Josh's side. There
it is.
So I'm going to hit play here, and Josh is going to talk.
Yeah, so this is what it looks like to look through the viewfinder of a Leica M3. Now, capturing video through the rangefinder is probably the most difficult thing we've ever had to do in 6 years. And credit to Brandon, who spent an inordinate amount of time getting this figured out, making it look as good as possible, because it is not easy. This is actually just right outside Leica Miami. I don't know what people were thinking when they saw doing this, but that aside, you can see a couple of things going on here. Number one, you can see we have our 50 millimeter frame lines that are all around the corners, and the M3 has the rounded frame lines, which is a distinction to that camera. And you can see the focusing patch in the middle, and that is going to go from, oh, it ended. We should just put it on a loop, but you can see as he turns the focusing on the lens, of course, you go from in focus to out of focus. So you see the rangefinder patch come out of alignment and back in alignment again. This is the fundamental way that a rangefinder functions. In order to focus, you have to wait for the double image inside the rangefinder patch to be a singular image. It offers an extremely positive conformation and allows you to focus in extremely low light because it is purely an optical device. There are no electronics of any kind. The M3 has 3 frame lines, 50 millimeters, 90 millimeters, and 135 millimeters, and that is it. So if you want to use a wider lens or a 75, you don't get the frame lines. That is it. You need an external finder, or you need to use a different camera. We can come back to us.
Yeah.
I think. So you want go ahead. Sorry.
No,
yes.
and I was just going to add. You'll notice that those 50 millimeter frame lines go all the way to the outside.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the M3 is kind of a cult favorite because for 50 millimeter diehard shooters, it's perfect because it's as big as you can possibly get for 50 millimeter with just enough space, and it's a little hard in the video to see it because, frankly. Yeah, this was a technical challenge to say the least, to try to get such a small camera into a
very
small
little
viewfinder.
hole there. That's
So you're actually not seeing as much around it as maybe you would see with your eye if you were pressed up against it. And that's always been an advantage of the rangefinder, is being able to see outside of the frame lines, anticipating when objects or people or subjects move in and out of the frame. And that's one of the keys of timing, say like doing street photography on a rangefinder, is, that's always been one of its advantages, so that you can, it's like, okay, that's just about to come into frame. I'm going to line this up and then click just as that person walks just into frame right where you want them, without having to guess or, open one eye or whatever. If you're looking through the lens, you won't see outside of your frame.
Yeah, I mean, that's, just to cut in for a second, the fundamental difference between a rangefinder and any other kind of finder is you're looking through the camera.
Yes.
You're not looking at the camera. You're seeing
through the camera.
You're looking through the camera, not at the camera. You're seeing an uninterrupted, unadulterated view of the world, and it will not change regardless of your lens choice, whether you leave your lens cap on, whatever filter you have on the lens. It doesn't matter because you're not looking through the lens. You're looking through an entirely separate assembly, which I actually have right here.
And before you show that, I want to add to that. What that means, and what Josh said, it doesn't matter what lens you use. Everything is sharp. I don't know if you noticed that in the image. Jose, you can pop this up just for a second. So everything is sharp. Everything that you see in this view is sharp. There is no, bokeh. It's sharp front to back because you're basically just looking at the world, and you need to use that rangefinder patch to see and visualize what will be in focus and kind of pre-imagine, pre-visualize what the end result will be. Because if I'm shooting at 50 millimeter 1.4 on this, it is not going to look like that, right? This is essentially what you're looking at if it was, not even if you stopped all the way down, because it's infinite depth of field.
Yeah.
So that's an important takeaway, that it's an advantage that you can see everything going on, but it's a disadvantage in that you need to be, say, the master of your creative intent.
Yeah.
Because the camera isn't going to show it for you.
Yeah, and that's something that we'll get into when we talk about EVFs as well, which is the lack of depth of field simulation, where that helps and where that hurts, but we're not there yet. Anyway, I have actually here, if you want to do the overhead.
Fancy.
Blah, 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 blah. This is the rangefinder mechanism from an M3. Looks pretty cool. Don't ask me how any of this works, all these screws and widgets. I have no mechanical skills whatsoever, but you can see it's not very large, but it is very complex. This is only just like the viewfinder part. And what's really cool is this is the rangefinder assembly from a Leica M9, which came out 50 something years, right? 55 years later. And you can see, despite the fact that it's a little bit beefier, it is fundamentally the same.
There's a ribbon cable there.
Yes, I get it. Yeah, but I'm talking about just the fact that the rangefinder hasn't really changed that much in the last 7 years for the good. Of course, they've made incremental improvements to the technology, but the concept remains the same. So this is actually what, if you were to take the top plate off of an M3 and pull out the guts of the rangefinder, that's what it looks like, which I think is, I don't know where I got this from. I've had this for a while. I just kind of dug it out for the show.
Do you remember the trivia of how many individual parts are in the M viewfinder?
2. No, I don't remember.
Not correct.
How many parts is it?
No, it's in the hundreds.
Oh, yeah.
It's incredibly complex. And you remember where they build the prism and the entire rangefinder mechanism, because we saw it.
That's true.
You don't remember, though?
No.
In Porto.
Is that where that is?
Yes.
Okay, that's
So
I thought that for a second there.
So Leica's factory in Porto, Portugal, or outside of Porto, they actually manufacture the entire rangefinder mechanism there and start with the bare prism and optics. They actually grind and polish all of the rangefinder optics there in Porto and then do the assembly of the full mechanism, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. The M3's viewfinder is iconic. It's the first M. It's the most magnification. It's an amazing finder. Now, of course, using one today is not going to be the same as using one in 1954 because these cameras have aged. Some of them are in amazing shape optically. Some of them will have some haze or they'll have broken spots in the frame lines or the rangefinder patch. So, not every M3 is created equal now because they have aged and they've done their best to survive all the years. And that's just part of the fun. But if you're looking for that high magnification, super, super simple experience, and obviously all the other fun parts of using an M3, that's a great way to go. From the M3, we kind of have like M3 and then everything else, right? I didn't bring all those cameras. I'm not going to force you to look at them all.
Watch the analog M episode.
But the big change we got after the M3 was a reduction in viewfinder magnification, which stayed that way for a very, very, very long time. So when the M2 came out, I know it seems like it should have come out before, but when the M2 came out after the M3, Leica reduced the viewfinder magnification from 0.91 to 0.72, which is a number, if you're familiar with,
still around today.
And that allowed them to put a 35 millimeter frame line in the M2. So you had 35, 50, and 90. And that really set the bar for all the rangefinders.
It has, indeed.
Going forward.
Yep.
And we've obviously had some other magnifications since then, and I'm going to get into that now, actually, because I think it's a good time to talk about it. And then I'll let you ramble on about something. It was my turn first,
why not?
for once.
No problem.
Because
I'm enjoying this.
Okay, good. In the world of M, you see these numbers, 0.91, 0.72, blah, 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 all this stuff thrown around, and it can get a little bit difficult to understand what they mean and how they relate to your photography. So I'll try to make it as simple as I can. 1.0x is what you see with your eyes. Anything more than 1.0x would be less than you see with your eyes. Anything less than 1.0x would be more than you see with your naked eyes. So the M3 being 0.91 is 91%, or 0.91, right, of what your eyes will see. So very, very high magnification, large focusing patch, limited to a 50 millimeter frame lines. You need to demagnify the finder to see wider than that. Next, you have 0.72, which came out afterwards, and that's a little bit less magnification, which means you can see wider frame lines like 35, but it does make the rangefinder patch a little bit smaller.
And the lens masks.
And
I'll bring that up
we had 0.72 for a very, very long time until the M6J special edition camera came out many, many years later, I think in 94. I forget, something like that. Anyway, the M6J introduced a 0.85 viewfinder. That's because the M6J was a camera that was designed to look like the M3, pay homage to the M3. So Leica wanted to bring back a higher magnification viewfinder, so they settled on 0.85. So 0.85 or 0.85 is the highest magnification we've seen since the M3, both like even to this day. So that gives you the ability to have a larger rangefinder focusing patch and makes it easier to use longer lenses. The downside is it eliminates the 28mm frame lines that we've had in the M6 before, and it makes 35mm frame
Very
lines
difficult,
almost impossible to see, especially if you wear glasses.
You can't see that.
So that's 0.85. And then on the other side in the analog world, we had 0.58 or 0.58. That does the opposite. So whereas a high magnification means the rangefinder patch is larger, means you can see the frame lines for telephoto lenses take up a larger part of the frame. A 0.58 is less magnification, much less. And that makes it easier to see the wider frame lines, but it makes the rangefinder patch that much smaller. So it's harder to focus long or exotic fast lenses more precisely on a 0.58 than it is on a 0.85. But the upside is it's very easy to see the widest frame lines, which are 28mm, on a 0.58 finder. Even me wearing glasses, who normally really struggles to see the 28 frame lines clearly on a 0.72, I can really pretty easily see the 28 frame lines on a 0.58. And the other cool thing about a 0.58 finder is that it eliminates the 135 frame line, because otherwise they would just be the same size as the rangefinder patch. And since the 135 and 35mm frame lines are paired on a 0.58 viewfinder, the 35mm frame lines are by themselves.
Clean.
So and since that's a very popular focal length, you get this beautiful clean view of just 35, which a lot of people like. And 0.58 finders now in M6 TTLs, MPs, and M7s, most of those were a la carte. They were custom ordered. They command a huge price premium for the most part over the 0.72 or 0.85 even.
I mean, so when I was shooting analog Ms prior to all this digital craziness, I had two. I had a 0.58 M7 and a 0.85 MP.
Nice. I wish you still had those.
So do I. So do I. But to your point, to your exact point is, I would shoot 28 and 35 on the M7, and I'd shoot 50 and 90 on the MP, and it was fantastic.
Yeah.
Because it was the best of both worlds. And yes, I carried too many lenses back then too. And two cameras. But it was, pretty cool. And sometimes, I'd shoot color on the M7 and black and white on the MP or whatever. But I really liked having the two different viewfinder magnifications.
Yeah.
And I think at the time, I want to say that those were stock. Those were not a la carte. There was a brief period of time when they were actually available in the catalog.
The first we saw was the M6.85. That was the M6.
Yeah, M6 TTL. Right?
The M6 TTL we saw 0.58 and 0.85.
Yeah.
The MP we saw a couple of 0.58. I mean, to see a factory original 0.58 or 0.85 MP is extremely rare. Yeah. They're twice the price of a regular MP, especially in black paint. Overwhelmingly, they were a la carte.
Yes.
Now, there was a period of time where Leica would actually retrofit a different finder in an analog camera, so you could send a 0.72 and have them put a 0.58. But that got out of control, and they don't do that anymore, which is
it's too bad.
A shame. But it is what it is. I guess too much of a good thing. But so now, especially 0.58 finders are very, very hard to come by. But the reality is, ironically, despite the fact that they command this huge premium, they are very difficult to use in the sense of if you put
focusing
a Noctilux or even a 50 Similux
I
on
would
there,
never do that. I wouldn't do that.
That's a real struggle. Then you have to start adding magnifiers and all this stuff, which
you should actually mention this. And so this was kind of a cool little engineering thing that Leica did back then, which was, so let's say you had a 0.58 finder, but you wanted the focusing ease of 0.72.
Right, I'm getting there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
sorry.
I'm building up to. No, it's a great segue.
I'm stealing your thunder.
No, it's okay because that's excellent, right? Because I could go. I love the 0.58, and there's more because right now we've just talked about 0.58, 0.72, 0.85, and 0.91. But there's actually two more that come later in the digital era. But
there is. We're not getting there.
We'll get there a little bit later. The Leica, the analog M cameras that Leica still makes today are all 0.72. You can't get them at any other strength anymore. I would love to see somebody retrofit a 0.58 on an MA. I'm sure it's been done. If you've seen it, put it in the chat. I'm actually very curious about that. But like David just mentioned,
I don't want to steal.
No, it's okay. It's a great segue because there are ways if you have a 0.58 or really any strength rangefinder to magnify whatever your rangefinder's inherent strength is, to magnify it by either 25% or 40% using the little tiny things you can't even see.
You cannot see those.
The Leica Viewfinder magnifiers. And we can do a close-up here if we want. They're very small. The 1.4 is missing its little rubber eyepiece, so forgive me. So essentially what these are is pretty much the way that they're described, which is This is basically a magnifying glass that you thread into the camera's viewfinder to increase the size of the viewfinder by either 25% in the 1.25x or 40%. I'm going to get it.
You're doing great.
That's very hard.
Oh,
Let me show you how they work. Let me show you how they work.
It's like photo Jenga?
Yeah, so this is a Leica M I'm going to take the 1.25. I'm going to thread it on there. So now you've turned your 0.72 into a point. Is that a 0.85?
It is.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the cool math.
Yeah. Or alternatively, we can put a 1.4. And what does that turn it into, Mr. Mathman?
That's, Jose, can you bring up
more
the
than 1x? Or what's 0.72 times 1.4?
Hold on,
I should have done this ahead of time, but clearly I had other things to do.
I have a calculator. Hold on, calculator. Why?
I want to look through it.
This has ChatGPT. I don't know.
I mean, I can't see anything.
Let's see.
With my glasses on, like I can see.
Oh, it's a 1x. It's 1x.
Is it 1x? Yeah. So basically, all I can see is 90 and 135. That's pretty much it with it. But
it's actually, again, cool math,
what's
right?
Cool, yeah, that is cool.
So the 0.58
yeah.
with a 1.25 is a 0.72. The 0.72 with a 1.25x is a 0.85. And a 0.72 with a 1.4x is exactly 1. I mean, it's 1.008. But
and the thing is, if your primary objective is to increase the size of the rangefinder patch for more accurate focusing,
that's it.
Put on a 1.4 and just get an external finder for the lens you're using. Because even though you lose almost all the frame lines with a 1.4, especially on a 0.72 finder, what you're really doing is making the focusing patch significantly larger, giving you the ability to control your focus that much more precisely. And if you need to frame precisely, you would just get an external finder, unless you're using a 90 or 135. And if you don't wear glasses, let's see. I could probably see.
Can you see anything? 50 at all?
I could see 50, 90. I could see.
Okay.
I could see 7, kind of see 75. But everyone's experience should be different. But anyway, and something I want to mention about the viewfinder magnifiers and the viewfinders in general is you'll notice I threaded this onto the back of an MA. But if I try to thread this on the back of an M11. Put that back.
Sure.
I'll grab an M1 monochrome, if we can get to the close-up here. Okay. You'll notice that if I try to thread it in, it's too, it doesn't thread. The viewfinder is too big.
You gotta try harder.
I knew it. So when the Leica M10 was introduced, it was not just a new camera with new features, but the viewfinder, the mechanism here, this viewfinder, increased in size and in magnification from the previous models. In fact, for 50 years or more, the diameter of the viewfinder here was the same, meaning diopters, magnifiers, eye cups, eyepieces, whatever, they worked from basically the M4 all the way to the M9 and all the film cameras. When the M10 came out, Leica made the decision to improve the rangefinder experience by making the viewfinder larger. The downside to this is that previous viewfinder accessories, ones that were threaded for the older diameter viewfinder, no longer are natively compatible. And while Leica did introduce a new series of diopters, so if you ever see a diopter like this with the number 2 in it, where the product code begins in a 2.4, you know that's the diopter with the larger diameter to fit an M10 or an M11. However, there is a workaround, which is this little tiny thing. This is a product that Leica makes, and it essentially is a step-down ring that changes the thread diameter of your M10 or M11 to the previous diameter viewfinder. And the function of this is specifically so that if you wanted to, say, use a 1.25 magnifier, which normally would not fit on the back of, say, this is an M11 monochrome, you would then take your thread adapter and thread it. I'm not going to actually, like, a little fiddly. You thread it on the back of the magnifier, and now you can actually screw. See what I'm doing here? It's kind of hard to do this because it's not fully threaded in, but yes.
There you go.
Now it actually fits. So this is the workaround. Now, again, you're dramatically decreasing the viewing area, eliminating frame lines, but if your only goal is to increase the size of the focusing patch to aid in precise focusing using the rangefinder, this is an excellent way to do it. And the last thing that I'll mention is some of you may be saying, well, this is really great, Josh, but normally I have a diopter on my viewfinder to correct for my vision, which of course I have to remove to install the magnifier. The backside of the viewfinder magnifiers has the same threading as the viewfinder. Now, not the M11 viewfinder, but the previous one. So you can actually take the older diopter, like here, and thread it into the back of the magnifier. So it goes camera, magnifier, diopter, where normally it goes camera, diopter. Now, if you have an M10 or an M11, and you also want to use the viewfinder magnifier, what this basically means is you need to have one diopter in the new reference to fit the camera without the magnifier, and the same strength diopter in the old reference to fit the small diameter on the back of the viewfinder magnifier. I know that gets a little convoluted, but I'm trying to make this as clear as I can. So
Don't worry, there'll be a test at the end. It's fine.
but I've had this conversation a couple of times recently, which is why I wanted to kind of clear the air here. So you can use the viewfinder magnifiers on M10 and newer.
With the adapter.
You just need the adapter ring. You can use a diopter on the magnifier. It just needs to be the older reference diopter correction lens.
That makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah, perfect.
So that was a lot.
That did make sense, right?
But I think it made sense, yes.
Yeah, I think it made sense.
I don't advise putting on the thread adapter with your hands. It does come with a little tool.
Yeah. It's very, very small.
It's very, very fine threads, but you don't want to strip those threads or mess them up. You get like a little wrench thingy that you're like kind of sticking there. It works pretty well. And this will allow you to use any threaded viewfinder accessory that has the old diameter threads on the M10 and M11 cameras.
I see you have a third-party one there too.
Oh, yeah. So one of the other ones I have with me is made by a company called Match Technical, who makes the thumbs up. They actually made a 1.45x magnifier with a built-in diopter correction, which was a very interesting product. But again, threaded for the
old one,
previous M10s, or previous generation of the M10, so M9, film cameras, M8s, M240. This is really, really handy if you want maximum magnification with a diopter adjustment built in. But again, with a 1.45x magnification, you're losing basically all the frame lines. I mean, I could put this on the MA.
I mean, I would maybe with a 90.
Yeah, 90 or 135. And what's cool is what I want to mention as well is with any of these viewfinder accessories, you need to make sure that all the glass surfaces are super clean before you start threading stuff on. So that means the back of the magnifier, the front of the camera's viewfinder, you want to blow the dust off and use a lens cloth to really make sure they're clean. Because think about it, you're magnifying it. So any dust or fingerprint, anything that's on there is going to be magnified that much more and make it that much harder to see. So let's see. This is the 1.45x. Oh, I can't even. Yeah, I can see 135 and I can barely see 90 with my glasses on. But in theory, I could use taking my glasses off. Let's see.
And you got a doctor, yeah.
It actually works surprisingly well. I can see 75, I can see 90 and 135 perfectly clearly. So
yeah. Now, there is another benefit that you're not mentioning here with these viewfinder magnifiers. Yeah. Apart from the magnification part.
Tell me.
A little side benefit.
Let's do it.
You reminded me perfectly because you are a left-eyed shooter.
Yes.
Now, left-eyed shooters are notoriously for smashing their nose against the back of the camera. What's nice about these magnifiers is they have a little bit of depth to them, and it spaces the viewfinder away from the camera, so you have a little bit more space before you smash your nose in.
Fair enough. I just accept it, and I'm always cleaning my screen. But, so be
I'm
it.
always cleaning your screen.
So hopefully that makes some clarity as to what these different magnification numbers mean. Now, as we move into the digital age,
well, let's show.
Yes.
By the way, because I have the M11 viewfinder queued up here. So if you want to,
why don't you narrate us a little bit?
Well, we can just see the difference here.
All right,
Jose,
Ready?
Okay, so what you're seeing here, I'll play this. So this is now modern rangefinder. This is the M11. Actually, it's an M11 monochrome. You can tell it's because it's black and white, right? Obviously not. And here you can see the rangefinder patch in the center is a little bit smaller than that of the M3. We've also have the squared style frame lines. Right now you're looking at a 50 millimeter mount. And what's kind of cool, I don't know if you can see it, is Brandon, as he's filming here, is moving the lens and moving the aperture, and you can actually see it. So something that is a little bit of a discussion with rangefinder as well is if you're using a large lens, this was a 50 Summilux, I believe, the newest version, which is not a huge lens. It's only a 46 millimeter, there's his hand, a 46 millimeter filter size. So if you were using, say, a Noctilux, it's going to be much larger than this and obscure more of your viewfinder. Here, it is cutting off the corner of the 50 millimeter frame lines here that you can see on the side that's closest to me. people tend to, let's try that again. People tend to, I guess, sort of tune that part out when they're shooting with a rangefinder. I suppose you don't notice it as much.
Well, the way I describe it is if you wear glasses, you may remember the first time you put them on and all you could see was the frame of the glasses and you're like, I mean, I remember being a kid and doing that. And then you just start to get used to it. And now you don't even notice you're wearing glasses. It's the same with this. You just see through it. That's the best way that I can explain it. But this is a great way to see both how much difference actually this is 0.73 makes compared to 0.91. I mean, there's so much more space around those 50 millimeter frame lines, but also because of the woman who was walking in the frame, you have a very clear understanding of the benefits of a rangefinder viewfinder for seeing things as they happen outside to give you the ability to anticipate and predict and prepare for exactly when they come into your frame and exactly where they're going to be. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Now, I want to just point out a couple of things that are noteworthy here. So you can see at the very bottom, you can see, okay, why do we keep doing that? You can see the LED display down there, and it's showing 750 is 1/750th of a, yep. We keep ending.
Get it? You have it on a loop?
I don't know how to do that. It's technical.
It's all good.
So, and the other thing, and it's showing right here, which is really fascinating, you'll notice when Brandon is changing the focus, the rangefinder patch isn't the only thing that's moving. We're actually getting this parallax correction of the frame lines. As you can see, it's sort of moving diagonally because as you start focusing closer, the object actually changes position. So Leica created this with the rangefinder mechanism. It's another way to make it ever so slightly more accurate because you're not looking through the lens. You're looking, as you can see, next to the lens. Right? The lens is to the right there and down. So how do we accomplish somewhat accurate frame lines? As you are basically approach infinity, you get much more accuracy. As you get closer and closer to the camera to minimum focus, it becomes less so. And that's just something you need to keep in mind when you're shooting with a rangefinder.
And two things. Number one, if you've ever wondered what that blinking light is at the bottom there, you see between the 7 and the 5, that little blinking dot, that indicates you have exposure compensation set. So if you see that and you didn't purposefully dial in any kind of exposure compensation, stop shooting and change it back to 0 because then the dot will go away. That's the first thing. The rangefinder is designed to be perfectly accurate, the frame lines, at a specific distance.
Yes.
Which is 2 meters.
That has changed over time.
It wasn't always 2 meters.
Yeah, it wasn't always 2 meters.
It used to be
Jose, you can come back to
us. Yeah.
That is actually, wow, you brought up...
I know, right?
You brought up some strong memories.
But, yeah, I know. Let's not dive too deep
anyway,
into
yeah, with the M8 specifically and then the M8.2 were dramatically different in terms of rangefinder alignment, frame line alignment, versus where we are now, which is basically back to where it used to be in the analog days.
Yeah, right. So basically, at 2 meters, if you were to like put tape on the wall and put the frame lines there, it would be perfect. Yeah. At infinity...
It's close. It's close.
At infinity, you get a little bit more, and then at the close distance, you get a little bit less.
Right.
But it's pretty negligible.
Yeah, it's negligible. I would say from 2 meters to infinity, it's more noticeable as you go 2 meters.
But that is something to know is if absolute precision framing is your goal, a rangefinder may not be the best tool, at least not the actual frame lines. You may need an external finder for that. But anyway, that's, yes. I just realized it's like 8:40 already.
Yeah. We haven't
rangefinders were so
many rangefinders.
I was like, how are we going to fill 2 hours? And I'm like, wait a minute.
Oh my God.
We can literally talk about our shoes for 2 hours. So,
well, you have nice shoes.
Thank you. Let's take some questions if there are any before we keep rambling. Jose.
Before we move on to the digital.
Yes, questions about ideally leaning towards what we just talked about.
Yeah, let's see if I can find here. Okay. I guess, well, that's for later. It's about focus peaking.
Yeah, not digital stuff.
Yeah.
We're getting there.
I can conclusively say there is no focus peaking in a rangefinder.
If your rangefinder has focus peaking, you may have a problem.
I have a question that says, I'm older and wear glasses, so using the viewfinder is sometimes difficult with lenses wider than 50 millimeters. Please help with tips on focusing and framing.
So Match Tactical, who makes that 1.45x, did try to manufacture a 0.85x magnifier to make it, in theory, easier for people who wear glasses to see the wider frame lines. It was very hard to use. It was kind of a flop. I'm sorry. So we stopped carrying them.
Not for me.
I have yet to find, and maybe there's someone who has knowledge I don't, something that is effective at demagnifying, because we obviously have magnifiers to make the viewfinder bigger. I have not found an effective demagnifier to make us glasses wearers able to see the wider frame lines easier. So you have a couple options in that case. Number one, I think what David and I probably both do is we just kind of know where 35 and 28 fall from shooting for so many years.
Yeah, you just sort of kind of get a feel for it. The other thing is, for instance, like if I use a 28 on an M11, I can't reliably see the frame lines without kind of, I'll show you, without doing a little like peek and move kind of thing.
The old peek and move.
So if I'm looking through and here I can basically look up, down, left, right, if it's really critical. But otherwise, what I typically do is I just say, I'm just going to imagine that's the whole frame, and if you're getting a little more, that's fine. It's better than a little less. So I think it's really not an issue. It's kind of a non-issue. And if you're even with 35, let's say that 35 is close to the edges, but you can still see the frame. Again, just shoot as if the whole viewfinder is your frame, and you're gaining the benefit that you can still see the rangefinder patch.
Yeah.
Because that's dead set in the middle. So really the only thing is just kind of guesstimating a little bit on the frame.
The other option is get an external finder. I mean, I know Leica external finders can be hard to find,
Really
but
hard to find.
other companies have made them. We have a very nice, we have this lovely 24 millimeter finder for sale right now, pre-owned, but whatever.
Here's one.
Yes, Leica has made over the years external viewfinders in 18, 21, 24, 28, even 35. 28 and 35 are very hard to come by. Even zoom finders, which we'll get to if we have time. Yeah, that is one downside of being a glasses wearer. Of course, if you know your prescription, you can thread on a diopter correction. I mean, for me, I can't do that because my vision's so bad without glasses that if I try to shoot with it, I literally can't see anything. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, where did I go?
Yeah.
I
think it's different. So if you're so Josh and I are both pretty nearsighted, right? So I can't, neither of us can go out and photograph, even if I could find a diopter that's strong enough, which I couldn't, I wouldn't be able to see what's happening in the world in front of me to actually photograph it. And I'm not going to only walk around like, okay.
Contacts, or I think someone said in the comments, laser eye surgery, get some LASIK.
Yeah. Now, if you just have, where you need reading glasses, super easy because your distance is good. The only thing you need is help with is closer focus. And I think that's something we didn't mention that's really an important data point. And a lot of people get hung up on this over the years. And no matter how many times we've said it, they're like, really? The same way that those frame lines are projected to be accurate at 2 meters, that is also where the optical projection of the viewfinder is relative to your vision. So if you are looking to understand what your prescription would be for a diopter, when you go to your optometrist or ophthalmologist for your eye checkup, request that you get a specific prescription for 2 meters or 6 feet distance. It's not super uncommon these days because I know a lot of people will get glasses for using the computer, and the eye doctor will say, okay, well, hold out your hand, like how far away from your monitor do you sit? It's like, okay, well, I sit right about here, and they'll measure to there. Tell them specifically that you need a prescription for 2 meters, and they will know how to do that for you. And that number may not be as far off of your regular uncorrected vision as you think it is. Mm-hmm. If you just need reading glasses for close focus, that might be only at 0.5 to 1 meter. You might actually be pretty close at 2 meters anyway, and might only need, say, a +1 diopter. If that's the case, that's an easy solution where you don't need to wear your glasses to actually photograph. If you are blind as a bat and nearsighted like we are, well, you're out of luck. Because it's only worse at 2 meters.
There's probably some like optometrists watching. I think, just get LASIK. But the thought of like the laser in the eye, oh god, no.
Lasers. What were you looking up there?
I thought somebody had a question that I was trying to get an answer to, but I couldn't find the question, so I failed miserably.
Perfect.
But the The diopter conversation, which we've had a bunch of times, is one that we'll never probably stop having.
Never.
I am grateful that the M EV1 has a built-in diopter, which we'll talk about later, because the best way to know what diopter is best for you is to get a couple different ones,
Right.
and try out the different strengths. Because oh my goodness, I just
Yeah, right.
I have people buy like every single one, which I understand, try them all and then return them. Ideally your local Leica store has them, I feel like Leica needs to make one of those things that the eye doctors have. It's like one or two.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And you go into your Leica store and you sit in a special chair and I'm there like flipping this thing.
Wow.
Okay, we need to talk about something other than rangefinders.
Did we get any questions? I'm sorry. I blanked out.
Jose, yes.
Yeah, we got a few more rangefinder questions.
Okay.
Why not quickly answer them? Has Leica made any bodies with 21 millimeter frame lines?
No.
No. I mean, you could use the universal wide angle finder to see 21.
But nothing built in.
Because it actually does have 21 millimeter frame lines.
It does.
And this does have a spherical lens element in it too, which is pretty cool. This is one of those like really underrated like accessories, probably because it's like $1,000. But
Well, also it's huge. So yeah, you should talk about this because it is a really fascinating piece of Leica lore, and show the top because this also relates to it has probably the largest zoom range for a viewfinder, as well as actually having a solution for parallax.
so yes, let's go to the close up. Here we go. This is the universal Leica, or the Leica Universal Finder M or wide angle.
No, it's Leica Universal Wide Angle Finder,
Yes, thank you. Catalog number 12011 for those who care.
but also affectionately known as.
The Frankenfinder.
This is a horrible name, but
It has frame lines for 16, 18, 21, 24, 28, along with parallax correction here. So you would dial in this dial based on the distance you are focused at to ensure that your framing is accurate as you change your focus distance. And it slides onto the hot shoe. It also has, you'll see this little gray spot right here, a little bubble level inside, which is pretty cool. And as I mentioned, it has an spherical element, so the quality is actually pretty good.
and its own frame line illuminator.
Its own frame line illumination window right here, which is awesome.
It is pretty cool.
So it's basically like, it's pretty cool. So it would be the way to get 21 millimeter viewfinder or frame lines along with all the other focal lengths. So if you're doing a lot of wide angle photography and either don't like an EVF, don't want to use EVF, or your camera doesn't work with an EVF, like if it's a film camera or an M9, these are actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like I look cool when I have it on the camera. I'm like a cool guy with my big old viewfinder. I don't know.
I also used to have actually, I might even have one out. Oh, anyway, I think I still have it somewhere. A 21, 24, 28 little zoom finder, which was very cool.
yeah.
A rotating.
Yeah.
So this one, just like an M rangefinder window, the actual magnification of the window doesn't change.
Right.
The frame lines inside change, just like an M viewfinder.
Right.
That's why it has a frame line illuminator.
Yes.
The 21, 24, 28 Vario finder that Leica made actually zoomed in.
Those are cool, and they made those in silver chrome too, which is
what I have.
super rare. Oh,
what I have,
you don't have it still, do you?
I actually think it's on the desk out there.
Oh, I should have stolen it.
Yeah.
Someone asked, I saw, this is a good question, about the MP finder versus the previous finders. I'm sure we've talked about this at some point in the last 6 years, but basically, when the Leica MP was introduced in the early 2000s, Leica upgraded some of the optical elements inside the finder to make it more resistant to flare. So in very bright conditions, like photographing outdoors, you don't get what's called washout, which is where the rangefinder patch just like goes completely white because there's so much flare. And what's cool about the MP finder is it can be retrofitted in an M6 and an M7 if the M7 doesn't already have it, because essentially the M7 was made before the MP came out and then also after.
Right.
So any M7 manufactured after the MP came out has the MP finder.
I think it's post 2003 or 2004.
So yeah, serial number begins in 288. Generally, you're pretty safe with the M7. But Leica can retrofit the MP finder optics in an M6, M6 TTL. And in fact, every M6 that we get at Leica Store Miami gets the MP finder upgrade. There's two different paths that we'll take. The full MP finder upgrade, meaning they're changing out the whole finder. It's like $1,000, takes a year. That's done at Leica Customer Care. But DAG also does what we call the flare-free finder, which is just replacing the components.
The optics.
That make it more resistant to flare. it costs like half as much, takes half as much time. So the result is the same. But either way, if you see somebody offering an M6 or an M7 with the MP finder, all it means is that it's a more flare resistant finder. Be mindful of things like an M4, which you also can retrofit an MP finder in. In fact, I've even seen it done on the M3, but that fundamentally changes the camera because
It's no longer the same viewfinder.
it's no longer the same viewfinder. Whereas on an M6, if you're shooting inside, the frame lines are the same, the viewing experience is overall the same.
Do you want to also address the slight upgrade of the dark chrome viewfinder?
No, because I don't think it really does anything. But
But it looks cool.
that's a digital thing, though, so we won't get into that now.
Yeah.
I guess we should also talk a little bit about, because we're almost at 9, so we'll kind of end the rangefinder talk and then go to the EVF talk.
Sure. I think that's a good place.
But we did talk about magnifications. We didn't talk about digital magnifications.
We should touch on that.
Yeah, so when the first digital M came out, M8, all the way through the M240, so M8, M9, M240, the magnification of the viewfinder was 0.68.
And the reason for that is...
Because the bodies were thicker.
Yes. 4 millimeters makes a big difference.
Yes. So you just had more, the light had to go a little bit further. When the M10 came out, in addition to making the viewfinder larger and offering more eye relief, they also increased the magnification to 0.73. So actually a little bit more, 0.1 more, than we got in the film camera days. Not
I
noticeable.
swear that if Leica had just called it a 0.72, nobody would have questioned it.
But you know how they are. They're very
so
proud of that
precise.
point, of that 0.1.
That precision.
So the M10 was really the first major improvement we saw to the rangefinder since the M6 with a 0.85 came out many, many years earlier.
And completely new optics as well.
Yeah, so really a significant difference. And the cool thing is, Leica didn't have to do that. Like the rangefinder in the M240 and the M9 was great.
Yeah.
Proven technology, but despite the fact that they could have stayed with it, they actually spent the time and the money to create an improved rangefinder experience. So 0.68 and 0.73 are unique to digital M's. You will not see that, those magnifications on a film M. You'll see the other ones we just talked about. But that's, so you've everything from 0.58 all the way to 0.91 and everything in between, plus all the combinations you can make with all the different magnifiers.
And then I know we briefly touched on it, but M8 was what, 0.7 meters, and then the M8.2 was 1.
That was 2 meters.
No, it was 2 meters, and then they went back to 1.5.
No,
something.
they stuck it on 2, I think.
There was a
I'm pretty sure it's
switcheroo
2
there,
meters ever since, but yes.
I think the M9 was 1.5. It's just they couldn't really find the sweet spot there.
Let's
but,
any more rangefinder questions? Then we'll show some cool stuff, and then we'll switch over to EVF at 9 o'clock. Does that work?
Sure. And we can show the cool T-shirt again.
Oh, we showed the T-shirt already.
Well, to half as many people.
Buy the T-shirt, okay?
The T-shirt is very cool, guys. You gotta represent. So this is a.
If you want us to like you that much more, buy our new Red Dot Wear green rangefinder T-shirt.
It's olive, Josh.
It's
olive.
Okay, it's olive. Anyway,
Safari color.
It actually matches. If you have a Safari M,
this is the
perfect match. Yeah.
Perfect, yeah. Anyway, questions, Jose, rangefinder related.
Can you explain the different rangefinder patch for M3, like the little notch on top?
So when the
show that again.
When the M2 came out, they added these little notches on the top and the bottom of the focusing patch, which were supposed to help you indicate depth of field. I've never successfully been able to use them, maybe because my eyesight's not good enough. But I'm pretty sure.
Oh, I see it.
Yeah, the early M3s didn't have the notches. They got rid of them after the M2 because I don't think they worked very well.
I mean, I don't know if anybody can even see that.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be like if it falls within the thicker patch, you're okay. I don't actually.
It's so subtle.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've used them.
Yeah.
I'd be curious if people who own M3s use these depth of field indicators now because it seems.
I'm gonna stop this and see if. Is my mouse showing? Yeah, okay. Yeah. So I'm going to show right.
These little notches, yeah.
That's the top one right there that I'm highlighting with the mouse. And then this is the bottom one right there.
Yeah,
if you super, super small.
If someone watching actually does use those, I'd be curious how they work in practice because I have not been able to get them, nor do I have the time to pay attention to them. Anyway, but that's a good question. Okay. What else we got?
Cool. And then one more is, can you explain how the 35mm goggles adapts the rangefinder capability on the M3 and all the M's?
Yeah, so it's basically a reverse magnifier. Now you can put the goggles on another M and it's going to reduce the magnification by that much. The thing is, you already have 35mm frame lines on those cameras, so all you're really doing is making the rangefinder patch smaller. Although I guess that is a way to demagnify if you wear glasses.
You found the solution.
It's just it's not ideal because you lose a lot of contrast, you lose a lot of light as all that stuff has to go. Light has to pass through all those optics, and then there's an air gap.
And we actually missed. There was another set of goggles that was for telephoto.
The 135. Yeah.
Also, when you talked about, I was reminded when you said that of the dimmer, darker view.
Yeah.
There it is.
There we go.
But it is very cool looking on the outside.
But you can use the goggle lenses on the modern cameras as well. They do work. They just make it that much harder to use the rangefinder. But
There's a but.
there's a but here. On some of the lenses with goggles, like the 35 Summilux Preaspheric, one of the big advantages over their non-goggled counterpart is a closer minimum focusing distance, which is significant. For example, let's say you have a steel rim, the original steel rim from the early 60s, very valuable lens, focuses down to 1 meter. But if you got the steel rim with the goggle attachment, which sells for less money because it's a little clunkier, it's not as cool looking, I guess, all I think it is, it focuses down to 0.65 meters, or 35% closer. And if you're working on a camera like an EV1 or an SL or even an M11 with the Visoflex, who cares if the goggles get in the way or if they're a little bit clunky? You're gaining a massive amount of usable close focus range, and you're spending less money. So I think, for me, I'm a huge fan of the Preaspheric 35 Summilux, whether it's the steel rim or the successor, with the goggles, because they do more for less money.
And you showed those in the steel rim episode.
That sounds like something I would have done.
Yes, we had that. All right.
Cool. Okay.
Do you have
any other questions?
No, but I think we should show that item that's related to...
Well, and also we have some announcements as well.
Yeah, the little bright line viewfinder.
Oh, yeah, because one of the cool things that we just got for the used department is this little guy, which I'll show you here.
Very nice.
This is a 24mm viewfinder, and this is the iteration with the locking mechanism here. So it's like a little...
There it is.
Lock. So this, I know it seems so minor, but it's significant enough that I even mentioned it in the listing title, because it will lock onto the camera, and you can look through it. You can't see me doing this, and you get frame lines for 24. So if you shoot a lot with 24 and you want precise framing with that focal length, this is cool. It's plastic, which makes it less expensive, but also a lot lighter and less likely to make an obnoxious noise when you inevitably drop it onto a tile floor. And it comes with this super sweet little case. Look at this little guy.
Let's not do the dropping thing.
There we go. Anyway, Jose can link to that. Just a fun, cute little pre-owned item.
We also have some cool...
We have some cool stuff?
Events.
Well, we have some cool events, and then I have a cool toy to show. Let's talk about events first.
Let's talk about events first.
Yes. What do we have coming up at the Leica store, David?
We have this next weekend, right?
Yes.
Is that next
Ready?
weekend?
Thank you, Jose.
Yeah, there it is.
We didn't say
Hey, there
we're
it
not
is.
telling him anything. And then
So we work with KEH out of Atlanta. They are a used camera broker and reseller. And they're going to come down and spend a few days in the Leica store in Coral Gables. And you can come in and bring anything. Because at Leica Store Miami, because it's a Leica store, we only take Leica items on trade. But if you have other unmentionable things that are not Leica...
how dare you?
How dare you? Why would you have that? You can bring those in and get an immediate offer and a check, which you can then use towards Leica equipment that you actually want to use, right?
Well, it's important to note that the way this works is actually pretty cool. So,
Josh, there you go.
number one, shipping your gear to someone like KH can be a bit of a pain. So if you have stuff you want to sell, you can just put it in a box, put it in a bag, anything you want. Bring it to Leica Store Miami those 2 days, and KH will buy it from you. But if you decide to use that gear to trade with Leica Store Miami, which you normally couldn't do if it's not Leica gear, you get 10% more. So let's say KH says, we'll buy this gear for $1,000. I'll cut you a check for $1,000. Done deal. If you say, no, I actually want to use this as credit with Leica Store Miami, they'll give you $1,100 as a voucher that you walk over to us 10 feet away. You can use towards stuff that we have in the store for sale. So this is a cool way both to sell gear you're not using and to increase your ability to trade with your favorite Leica store on the planet, Leica Store Miami, who normally doesn't have the ability to intake non-Leica gear, since Leica is our life. And that is all we do all day, every day, 7 days a week. Anyway, so we have that. Super cool. And then what else we have, David?
And then we also have...
Another cool event coming up.
Yep, we've got a gallery opening here.
Jose?
We also get a gallery opening in the store. I am not good with the French.
But this Jean-Pierre Lafont, he's an amazing photographer who's like 90 years old. He's had an unbelievably legendary career. been featured in every major publication on the planet. I mean, an icon. The guy is an icon. So he's actually going to be here. He'll give a gallery talk. We'll have his work on the walls. We'll have food, drinks. David and I will be there. It'll be a fun time.
Whoa.
So if you're in Miami or looking for an excuse to come to Miami in the middle of March, Thursday, March 12th at Leica Store Miami is our gallery opening. So we have 2 cool events.
We do.
Coming up. Another possible kind of event that's not on the website yet, but in the works. If you've been with us long enough, you may remember we used to do a boot camp series. This were a 2 or 3 day workshop that was camera specific, meaning we spent 2 or 3 days in a classroom setting going through every single thing that a camera could do from start to finish. It's been a long time since we've done one of those programs, and I am working on bringing the boot camp program back in 2026. What's the first weekend of May? I memorized the dates and I forgot. It's like May something.
It's May, get a calendar?
Yeah. Anyway, while David's getting that, my first program that I'm working on is for the M11.
There you go.
And it will be tentatively May 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, so you can pencil that in on your calendars, more to come later. But if you ever wanted to spend 3 days locked in a room with me, where I go through
A cold,
every
dark
single,
room.
yes, a cold, dark room. No, the experience is going to be super nice. Top quality food, great coffee, good times. We're going to spend some time photographing as well. And this will be extremely intense, extremely detailed, I know, shocking. But if you ever wanted to learn every single thing there is to know about your M11, the M11 Bootcamp coming up in May will be the place for you to be. If you're interested and want to be on the interested person list, just shoot us an email. Let us know you're interested in the M11 Bootcamp in early May 2026, and I will be sure to notify you when that is actually official. Yes. Now, the last thing I'll talk about before we go on to EVFs is, if you've watched the show a lot, you know we like to feature cool items from our pre-owned department, usually right about this time, which I will be doing tonight as well. But I've kind of bottled that up into a special email newsletter called the Pre-Owned Spotlight. And I did it, and then I stopped doing it because we got busy with the holidays, but my New Year's resolution is to bring back the Pre-Owned Spotlight regularly. And what that is a separate email list from our newsletter, from everything else, where every time I send it, I'm featuring a pre-owned item that we have that I think is interesting. I talk about it in great detail, about the history, about what it is, where it falls in the product catalog, and quirky things about it. And I send that email out just to people who are on that list. So if you're interested in learning more about some of the cool pre-owned stuff we get, deeper insight than what you may see on the website or what you may find just Googling, sign up for the Pre-Owned Spotlight newsletter. It's obviously free and cool and fun.
Jose might have a link for that.
Jose might have a link for that he can drop in the chat. Again, I've been slacking off on it. The holidays got the best of me. I'm sorry. But I'm bringing it back in 2026. I'm going to start doing it this coming week, the Pre-Owned Spotlight. So, in honor of that, while Jose finds the link,
Yep.
I'm going to grab what I think is the coolest item, or one of the coolest items we have for sale pre-owned right now, which is this white box.
I love white boxes.
This white box measures about 6 by... No, I'm kidding.
How funny would that be?
It was
if that
just
was
literally
true?
just a box. Oh my goodness. This is an R lens.
I recognize the hood.
Now again, everyone says, why don't you do an R lens episode? Well, because I'm busy. But in lieu of an R lens episode, you get to look at this one.
Wow.
Now this R lens is perfectly suited to our Viewfinder episode because it is a lens that works equally well on an adapted M or adapted SL.
One of my favorites, actually.
This, get a close up, is the Elmerit R 19mm f2.8 version 2. Very rare, very desirable, very recent, manufactured from the early 90s all the way until the end of the R system in 2009. This lens does a couple of things really, really well. Number one, excellent image quality, and it's an f2.8, which is pretty rare for a wide-angle Leica lens, especially these days, because we have 21-34, 18-38, 24-38, etc. So this is an f2.8. And unlike the wide-angle rangefinder lenses, it focuses all the way down to 0.3 meters, which is super close. It's pretty compact. You can see it's not that big. Here's an 18 Super Elmar next to it for a size reference. So yes, it's obviously larger in diameter, but not by much. But the coolest part by far is the lens has built-in filters. So we have an orange filter, a blue filter, and a neutral, meaning a yellow-green. There it is, yellow-green. So you have yellow, green, orange, neutral, which is nothing, and then a blue filter. So basically you slop this down, you get that little red, and it locks in. So satisfying. And you actually can change the filtration of the lens without having to actually thread a filter on. So on a camera like the M11 monochrome, which can take advantage of color filters, this is super fun. So what you do is you get your M11 monochrome, like here, and you get your R adapter M, like so. Voila. And you pop it on, and it's not really that much bigger than like an Octolux, or smaller than that. And now you have a really cool, close focusing, wide angle setup with integrated filters and a totally different look from M lenses. And this is actually like a really manageable setup. This particular one is in amazing condition, as you can tell. It was just CLA'd by DAG, so it's working perfectly. And it has the original box, original packaging, original paperwork, even the hilariously obnoxious lens hood, which
I told you I recognize the lens from the hood.
which I will put on for you so you can see how that looks.
Do not lose it.
All right, there's the hood. If you want to be super cool, use it like that.
You got to show the front.
Oh yeah,
There you go,
There
yeah.
you go. So anyway, if you're looking for
Looks like a cinema
something
matte
different,
box.
something fun, something that's suited to a monochrome, an EV1, an SL, or of course an R camera, check out the Almardar 19mm version 2, CLA by DAG with the box and everything that we just have on the pre-owned section of the website.
Fun fact.
Tell me.
That was one of my favorite R lenses in my kit.
Really?
Yep.
What happened to yours?
Unknown. Unknown.
See the trend here? This is why David's not allowed to touch stuff on the table.
What did happen to all that stuff?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Everything is just. Oh no.
Yeah,
no,
I
no.
had a 19, and then I went from wow, that's a huge jump. I went from 19 to the 28.
Ah, that is a
Josh,
big jump.
That is a massive
quick question. Does Leica still offer ROM contact conversion for R lenses?
No. That made more sense in the days of R cameras, but now
There's no reason for that.
there's no reason to tear up a beautiful, perfect lens like that just to add ROM contacts. The only camera now that benefits from that is the SL. If you use the R adapter L, it will pass through the lens automatically, but the reality is it's very easy to select it manually. You can even make a user profile for it with that lens profile enacted. So, no, I mean, you would pay a huge premium to buy the same exact lens in ROM as opposed to 3cam, which this one is, for the exact same image quality and exact same functionality. So cool for sure, but not something I lose sleep over.
Yeah, very cool lens.
All right, David, I am now recruiting you.
Uh-oh.
Tell us what it was like in September of 2012. The game changed forever.
So here we were. No,
You were in Germany.
I was in Germany. It was significant, right? So in 2012, Leica came out with the M Type 240. Prior to that, there was 3 generations of digital line cameras, the M8, 8.2, and the M9. So the M9 was the first full-frame camera that came out in late 2009. 3 years later, the M Type 240 came out, and the most significant change was the move from a CCD sensor in the M9, 18 megapixel in the M9 to 24 megapixel in the M240. The small resolution jump wasn't the big news here. It was the move from CCD to CMOS technology. Now, that enabled better low light performance for sure, but it also enabled live view because CCD sensors notoriously are not suited to live view operation, while CMOS sensors are. And Leica came out with, we have a 240 up here? No.
Yeah, I have 246.
Oh, it's close enough.
For the
I mean, that came out
it's the same concept. I didn't have a 240 floating around. So
came out a couple of years later, but
the next best thing.
it's okay. I'm putting a different lens
You can do
on.
whatever you want.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
I'm gonna put this
I'm
on.
here for you.
Okay. And that came out also with this, which is a Leica EVF2. And oh wow, I have a super big mess over here, but I'm gonna show my.
You're doing great.
Thank you.
Just shoving all this stuff out
Yep,
of the way.
Jose.
I'm just gonna
Let's do it.
try to make it look
You
cool.
shove everything enough already?
Now you can show. I know I got rid of all the contraband's gone. There we go. So this is an M246. Like Josh said, this is the monochrome version of the 240. 246, you can tell because it's all blacked out. There is there's no red Leica dot, and it says monochrome on the top. All right. So what you can see here is an interesting solution. This was Leica's first, and Julie is going to grill us again with the
Covered in fingerprints here.
Give me, yeah. Covered in fingerprints.
Well, I do clean them, and then they get dirty because we touch them. So, get over it.
Is allowed. Okay. Sorry, this is just so people don't get triggered of dirty screens. And this actually does have a sapphire glass screen, which is really nice. So even a camera that is 14 years old has a perfectly intact LCD screen.
All right.
So the solution was kind of interesting that Leica did here. They maintained functionality of the hot shoe, and they added a little dedicated connector right here. And if you look on the other side of the viewfinder, the EVF, it has a little plug. So when you put this in, you'll see that it actually plugs itself into that little contact there. And there's a little activation, so you would turn the viewfinder on with the little button.
There's a battery in there.
Is there a battery?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just probably with the sleep.
And that's it.
The coolest thing about this,
you can actually see there's live view happening right
which
now.
of course I didn't bring, is that because there's that little porch there that's exposed, the hot shoe cover of the 240 series cameras is like a right angle L-shaped piece because that to cover the EVF port. And if you ever wondered why the M Type 262 has a unique hot shoe cover all to its own, it's because the 262 did not have EVF capability and therefore lacked that port. So the 240 hot shoe cover wouldn't fit, so they had to literally engineer a very specific hot shoe cover specifically for the M262, which they never used again, and I just find that hilarious. But anyway, I had to hijack you.
Perfect. Okay, so this was a camera that initially gave us live view, and you can see there, if I don't use the viewfinder, but I activate live view here, this would show on the screen, and then to switch to the EVF, we did that. And switch back, it would just turn off, and then you have to activate it again. So this is, call this generation 1 of the EVF through the lens experience. Not a super high resolution viewfinder. I think this was 1.
It was, I wrote it down because I knew I'd forget. 1.44.
1.44. There you go.
Very, very many dots.
So 1.4 million dot EVF, LCD based, plastic. This is
Here's the thing, though.
the EVF2.
What y'all don't know, if you weren't around in the Leica world in 2012, is you all who were around lost your minds, myself included.
Oh, because of the video button?
Exactly.
Because it was the first M with live view,
Yes.
and it changed the game. Prices for R lenses doubled overnight. The supply of M lenses evaporated. Everything went nuts because suddenly you could use these lenses in a way you could have never used them on an M camera. It was the first full-frame, interchangeable lens camera that Leica ever made with electronic viewfinder capability. Even if the EVF wasn't that great, I'll never forget the first time I used that camera, which was when Jesko had a prototype of it at Photo Plus in New York in October 2012. And I saw him holding it, and I just ran over there. I'm like, I need to see this camera, and I almost cried. It was so beautiful to be able to put on.
I think you did cry.
A little bit, a little tear, because we had never really been able to see what a Leica lens does in real time. Think about it. When you're working with...
I'll say, when you say people lost their minds, here's the other thing they lost their minds.
Yes.
The market for R lenses.
I just said that.
No, but
I said that.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. You're distracted. It's
I'm
okay.
sorry. I'm
I know.
looking
I
for
do the same
something
thing. It's all feel bad.
But yes. And do you know the first R lens I tried on it? So I was at Photokina in Germany when the camera was announced.
Yes. 28 to 90?
It was.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the R28 to 90 Vario, which,
Yeah.
little trivia, anyone know who designed that lens?
They're not going to...
Oh, wait, I can't hear you. I couldn't hear you.
Was it you?
Yeah, David designed it. No.
No, the 28 to 90 was the first lens that Peter Carbo was that he worked on at Leica. Little trivia.
There you go. So getting live view in a rangefinder was a game changer.
I guess it predates.
And we've seen, obviously, it evolve. So I don't want to get super hung up on rangefinder still. So what I'd like you to talk to us, David, a little bit before you try to find your blog post in 2012.
Sorry.
Because I get it. Nostalgia hits hard.
Rabbit hole.
Take us through the evolution of EVF on an M, because then I want to stop with M and go to SL.
Yeah, of course.
Well, not stop with them because we have EV1, but
Yeah.
here's what I want you to do before you say anything. We talk about 240. I want you to go from 240 to M10 to M11 to EV1.
Great.
Talk to us about the EVF experience on each. See, I'm working on this right now. Okay, explain to us.
I feel like
Yes.
I feel like you're prompting AI.
I want you to pretend you're
AI
a Leica expert.
This is what AI feels like.
All right,
Okay.
and go.
Okay. So obviously a 1.4 million dot EVF. Listen, it was a pretty decent experience. And I know, I'm just going to briefly talk about this. I still remember going out the first time, like I actually went and had a real photo shoot with the M240. I believe I was at the LSI meeting in San Francisco. Does that make sense? Did they have one in San Francisco?
Was it Savannah?
No, San Francisco.
Okay.
I was in San Francisco.
Okay.
And I went out and I shot for like from sunrise till sunset. And it was just fantastic using the live view, which I used all live view because it was like so novel and so great. And I used the 60 macro R lens. I used the 180. And I went through like 5 batteries that day because it just chewed through batteries. And the 240 batteries are pretty sizable.
Don't talk about 240 batteries. That's a sore subject right now.
Okay, moving on. Okay, so that was great, but a little bit limiting. The refresh rate, a little bit slow. The resolution, a little bit low. So where we went to, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Leica came out with the M10, and we see a few notable improvements here. And this is not a digital M episode. Let me just preface that. But if you
Top down.
top down for me,
Jose, go on.
there we go. So you can see the 240 here, and we've got the M10 over here. And this was, I think the most dramatic change. The 240 generation, 240 platform, was a significant technological upgrade for Leica that brought them into the modern digital age. And we've always felt this camera still has a great place in the lineup. The M10 refined all that by going to this thinner body that is the same dimensions, exact dimensions, as any analog M camera. So we had an M10 that shrunk by only 4 millimeters, except it has a massive effect on the overall size and feel of the camera. They went with an integrated ISO dial here. And you'll notice from the EVF perspective, again, I got to do that. From the EVF perspective, we no longer have the little port. On here, there is nothing. And we also got a new viewfinder.
Well,
kind of.
the EVF2 came out with the 240. What Dave was going to show you, the Visoflex Type 020, already existed.
Right. Okay,
Yeah.
Yes. But
Just to get into semantics here.
you didn't bring a T, right?
No, I didn't bring out like a T.
All right. Anyway, but this viewfinder, you'll notice, I'm going to show you on the bottom. So it has the hot shoe contacts here for power. And then you'll notice it has here the, this is for video. So it's got this line of digital contacts. So the hot shoe itself, you can't see it, but if you look all the way down in there, there's actually pins at the front of the EVF underneath the plate here. So when we plug this in, it was a more seamless experience. And you'll notice there's no button anymore because it has an eye sensor, an infrared eye sensor. So we didn't have to activate it here. And we have a noticeable resolution jump from 1.44 million dots to 2.4 or 2.39.
Yeah, 2.4, yeah.
2.39 million dots. Let's just call it that. It also had a really cool feature that this has a built-in GPS receiver, which is also kind of cool. So when you're using this, it was able to geotag all your photos, which is pretty cool. They both do have built-in diopters. This diopter notoriously, it's so easy to move, and it's not really clearly indicated. Yeah. There's just a little raised bump. So many times that I have this in my camera bag and pulled it out and shot for ages, and I could not figure out what was going on, why I couldn't get sharp focus. Oh, because the diopter switched all the way to one side. That got fixed a little bit with this.
Emphasis on a little bit, because
it
wasn't really that much better of a design.
But it does have nice little click detents.
That's right.
Rather than just being a smooth turn and being on the side, a little bit more protected. Still, I always advise, maybe like a little touch of tape here.
That sounds like the bezel on my sub. I'm not going to hear that.
I don't know what they can hear.
Not that.
It sounds good though. Okay.
Oh,
it actually does. It actually does sound like a watch bezel.
That's funny.
Both of these did tilt, which was great. This, as Josh pointed out, and you can come back here. So the Visoflex type 020. And again, this is not confusing at all. So we went from EVF2 to a type 020.
Right, because the EVF3 was for the Leica Deluxe 6, so we don't talk about that.
We don't talk about that. So, all right. So, sorry, I got lost there. This did not come out with the M10, as Josh pointed out. It actually came out with the T type 701, which was Leica's
That was
first,
the L mount.
yeah, the first L mount camera, the first APS interchangeable lens camera. That was followed up by the TL and then the TL2 and also the CL, which
We may not get to it.
we may or may not get to that.
We're staying focused.
Ooh, see what you did there?
Yeah, I see what I did
Okay,
there, yeah.
we're staying viewfinder.
Doesn't make any sense.
But from a practical standpoint, this, I think, where the 240 brought us into the age of live view, the M10 really took it to a mature level where it was much more usable. You can also see, I'm going to do one more shot from the back here. And if you look at, I mean, just the eye relief and the magnification was just so much greater on the new 020 Visoflex versus the EVF2. Just a much more comfortable experience for live view shooting. Now, that brings us to the M11. And the M11 brought out a new viewfinder.
Finally.
Finally.
Because the Visoflex 020 had a very, very long life.
It did indeed.
8 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
All right. So now that brings us to the modern iteration of the EVF. And we have the, again, not confusing at all, the Visoflex 2.
That's right. Not 020. Just 2.
Not Visoflex 020.
That's right.
And not EVF2, but Visoflex 2.
Just memorize the product codes like I did. 18753,
I swear.
18767, 24028.
Yeah. Leica is forever, everything's going to be number 2 for some reason.
Yeah.
And similarly, this also has the contacts here on the bottom, so it's in there. In fact, what's cool
Here we go.
is Leica, this is an M10, this is an M11. Leica did issue a firmware update, so those people who had M10s could use the new Visoflex 2 on their.
Yeah, and there was a
their
question
M10
about that, so we come back to us for a sec, and I'll address that.
Yeah.
Give you a break.
Oh, I should talk about the resolution difference.
Yes, so the Visoflex 2 brought a higher resolution. It was
I didn't get to yet. Yep.
Well, I'll
No.
mention 3.7.
Yes.
So we went from 1.44 million dots in the EVF2, 2.4 million dots in the Visoflex Type 020,
Yep.
to 3.7 million dots in the Visoflex 2. It also has a higher refresh rate. It's a much nicer panel. It's a better viewing experience.
Well-
It's better constructed.
Yeah, plastic versus metal.
Better
Yep.
diopter integration, but
Yep.
it did lose the GPS functionality because it's metal,
Yes.
which we get now through the Photos app. The thing is, when the Visoflex 2 came out, Leica had said, we're going to issue a firmware update for the M10 generation camera, so like M10R, M10P, M10D, so that the Visoflex 2 was backwards compatible, except the output of the M10 generation camera's hot shoes was still 2.4 million dots. So what happens is the Visoflex 2's view gets shrunk.
It's kind of like letterboxed.
Yeah,
I wouldn't
so
say
you're
it's
not-
shrunk.
it's not-
It's outputting just the middle
Yeah.
2.4 million.
It's not
dots.
cropping.
No.
But what it actually does is almost like add eye relief.
A little bit, yeah.
Because you're seeing, you're having an easier time if you wear glasses like I do, seeing the full image, even though it's in theory the same resolution as the Visoflex 020. It's a smoother, clearer picture. It's also just a better quality viewfinder with a better diopter adjustment as well. So
All those things.
I do think it's worth it. Other than the fact that it is considerably more expensive. I mean, Visoflex 2 now I think is like $1,000 in the US.
It is now. Yeah.
Visoflex 020's 2,300.
Sure.
So if you have an M10 and you either love the GPS and never want to give it up, or you know eventually you may get an M11, I think the Visoflex 2 does make sense, especially if you could find one pre-owned. If you have an M11, obviously you have no choice but to get the Visoflex 2. So
Yeah, I think you covered a lot of the big notable improvements, which big resolution jump, smaller size. It's more low profile here, so being flat. It is all metal construction now, and the diopter requires a bit more actual like intention.
much better integration.
it requires intention to move. It does not
Well,
move.
the irony is that
Yeah.
the EVF2 and the Visoflex 020 had some indication of the position of the diopter.
This has none.
They got rid of it on here.
Zero.
If anyone at Leica is watching, can you please tell me why you just couldn't put a little hash mark in white where the neutral position is? I mean,
They make white out.
oh my God. But I don't even know where, no one even knows. Like
Silver
it's,
Sharpie.
It's one of life's great
Yeah,
mistakes.
so it doesn't really have a start or a stop or a midpoint.
It's just like,
Anyway.
anyway.
And I will talk about how to adjust that in a second. It also has the infrared eye sensor, so when you put it up to your eye, it flips from the EVF to the, or from the LCD to the EVF, unless you've put it into EVF only mode, which you can do. The other big difference, Josh touched on as well, we did get a faster panel refresh, so it's smoother, less jaggy when you're moving around or moving subjects. And also on the M11, you do get electronic stabilization of the viewfinder. So there's no image stabilization on the camera, but if you're magnified in with, say, a 90 millimeter lens and you are trying to get precise focus, that could be very, very jumpy experience. So to prevent motion sickness and to give you a more pleasant experience, it does have electronic stabilization of the panel. Not yet. Not yet.
Okay, fine.
Okay.
we're trying to keep you moving here.
And the other big difference here, real big image quality difference. We've gone from an LCD panel in here to an OLED panel in here. And if you want to know what OLED looks like, just look at your iPhone. These are OLED screens. They are better at battery life because the pixels that are dark are not drawing any power. Every pixel on an OLED screen is self-illuminated. And that also means when the pixel is turned off, it's completely black. So LCD always has a backlight behind it. So what can happen is you can get washed out black areas. They're more like just a dark gray. And that lowers your overall contrast of your image. And that in turn lowers your color saturation and your color gamut. So the OLED panel, much, much truer to life in terms of the color reproduction, especially you'll notice it in yellows and to some extent in reds and greens as well. So the previous older generation EVFs tended to have more of a muted, muted yellows and almost like yellowy greens and orangey reds. The newer generation of EVFs, starting with the Visoflex 2, have basically really bold natural color like you would see on your phone.
Yeah. So now,
Okay.
on the topic of M cameras and their EVFs, we're going to go to the current iteration, and then we're going to get into the philosophy and the concepts and the theory.
Yes.
But right now, we're just kind of doing an anthology section. So David,
Yes.
we've had an M240 with an EVF, an M10 with an EVF, and an M11 with an EVF.
Yes.
With an EVF. What is the latest and greatest EVF-M situation?
Well, they should watch our last episode.
They should. All right, so we're done now. No,
We're done. This is the new hot M EV1 right here. And if we get a close up on that, you'll notice it has no, well, I mean,
There you go.
yeah, now it's upside down. It doesn't have a rangefinder window like we have on all the other M's because it has a built-in electronic viewfinder. And no, you cannot use a Visoflex 1, 2, 3, 4, anything.
Wait, hold on. Wait, where's the EVF2? Let's put this. No one's ever done this before. Maybe it will work.
I doubt it.
Let's keep that on there for the rest of the show. See if anyone gets confused.
Let's not do that. All right. Now, oh wait, actually, this is pretty notable because this is the only Visoflex with a nomenclature of 1 and not 2.
That's one way to look at it, yes.
I mean, I'm actually kind of surprised they didn't call it the M EV2 because that would have been in line with everything else.
Or the O2O, no.
The O2O, yeah. So this is the EV1. It is an M mount camera, but it does not have a rangefinder. It has an electronic viewfinder, and this is even higher resolution than the Visoflex.
Yeah, it's 5.76 versus 3.7 million dots.
Yes, that is about 2 million more dots.
That is a lot more dots.
Yes, that's a lot more dots.
Now we have, our last episode was on the M EV1. So we're not going to rehash the M EV1, what it is now, because that would take another 2 hours. But I want to talk to you for a little bit about first, an overarching concept. What does live view with an M and its EVF give me visually and from a usable standpoint that the rangefinder experience does not give me?
Well, first and foremost, you're seeing through the lens, which means you're seeing precise composition. You have no issues with parallax. You also are seeing live effect, especially in an M, of depth of field. Because unlike an SLR or maybe a mirrorless camera, where the lens is always wide open and then stops down to shoot, an M is mechanical, no electronic control. So when you stop an M lens down, you are seeing through that M lens fully stop down or fully wide open, which means when you have a live view experience, you very clearly can see the difference between shooting at f1.4 and f8. It is dramatic, right? Where you wouldn't normally see that, say, on an SL.
We have footage of this, right?
We do have footage of it, yeah, of an SL because it's shooting wide open all the time.
And if I may talk for a moment about that while you pull up the footage. This changes the game. And what I mean is, as I mentioned earlier, all of these years shooting with the M lenses, which are legendary, famous. They have names like Bokeh King and Steel Rim and others that I can't think of right now. They do and create these images that are iconic, that are magical, but all of these years, we never actually saw the world through them, for better or for worse. So what live view on an M camera, regardless of model right now, allows us to do is instead of reacting later to what the lens does, we can actually utilize the lens's unique bokeh rendering characteristics, or if it's an older lens, perhaps its flaws like flare and aberration. We can use those things in real time and have significantly more control creatively over how they impact our photographs. This can fundamentally change the way that we use exotic lenses like Noctiluxes and vintage Summoluxes and anything, because I like to call it compose with bokeh, because before the bokeh appeared in the image, and we're like, wow, cool, that was awesome. We're like, that didn't work. Whereas now, all of those characteristics that we lust after, we can actually use them in real time to compose our shots, and it completely changes the way that we work, and it allows me to create images with vintage glass or exotic glass that are so much more intentful. So instead of necessarily being surprised by the result or leaning on hoping something quirky happens, I'm actually utilizing it in my favor with a lot of control and getting the results that I want right away.
Yeah. Now, I think there's also, and I will show that, but there's also some other advantages that we have here, especially with regards to M. Being able to quickly magnify to either 100% view or even, 75% view or whatever, you can control how much it magnifies. And even in the EV1, it has a roller cam in there as if it was a rangefinder lens, compatible, except there's no rangefinder mechanism. The reason for Leica retaining the roller cam in here is to activate focus aids, which you can turn on if you don't want that. But by default, I believe it is automatic. So when you start turning the lens and the camera detects that you're moving the focus cam, it punches in and gives you a magnified view, which allows you to focus more precisely. So a lot less guessing. Great if you're an eyeglass wearer or, not 100% best vision. This allows you to really be more confident with your lenses, and especially with more challenging glass like Noctilux is wide open, or with 90s or 135s, or adapting a 180R lens.
That's right.
Or getting that precise focus. Also, in terms of framing, it also means that you can be outside of those frame lines. So you can use one of my favorites, an 18 millimeter. I'm not allowed to talk about that one. Or, a wide angle Trielmar that goes to 16 millimeter. So it gives you a view. What you see is what you get through those various lens options. It also allows you to utilize the new close focus functionality that was introduced on the 35 Apo and then rolled out now on the 28 Summicron, the 50 and the 35 Summoluxes, as well as what are the other ones I'm thinking of? Was that it?
I think that's it for now.
That's it for now. Oh, we're not allowed to. Oh, yeah.
But the 135 close focus that focuses to 0.001 meters? No.
So, yeah, but that's, but even actually, the, even the wide-angle tri-LMR has a close focus range, so it actually predates it.
That is true.
There you go. That was
That
it.
is true.
So yeah.
Yeah, so
it allows you to utilize those for creative intent without having to guess. And the live view experience, I think, is I'll say it's pretty good using a Visoflex on an M11. It's fantastic on an EV1.
Yeah, I mean, again, we dove into this pretty deep.
And if you want to talk over this.
Yeah, we dove into this pretty deep in the EV1 episode, but what are you about to show us on the screen here, David?
An EV1.
Okay, so pull it up.
Brandon monkeying around with an EV1.
So here we see some of the different viewfinder experiences one gets in the EV1. So this is...
He's showing a crop mode.
This is Brandon just kind of like cycling through what you see. There we see our grid lines, live histogram. The red would be our favorite thing ever, which is focus peaking.
But you can really see
We see the blinking highlights for the clipping warning. This is like giving me all kinds of anxiety because I use the exact opposite of this.
Yeah.
Here, there's a magnification. Pause for a sec. Well, go back.
Oh, which one?
Pause when you see the white box at the bottom left corner. I want to point something out too.
Okay.
So there are two ways to enable what's called focus aid, which is when the live view is magnified, making it easier to see, like this. It's so easy to see, so crisp. He put the lens cap on. You broke it. There we go.
Oh, okay.
Right there. Well, go back. When it's like, no, when it...
Right. Oh, just the white box.
Yeah, okay. Leave it there for a second. Focus aid. Manual or automatic. Two settings in the menu. Manual means when you turn the focus ring of the lens while you're looking through the electronic viewfinder, the magnification will not change unless you press a button that you've configured to do so. Automatic means that as soon as you begin turning the focus ring on your M lens, it will automatically magnify the image. Now, one of the troubleshooting things that I see a lot is people will say, well, I have focus aid set to automatic and I'm turning my focus ring, but the magnification is not working. And I say, do you see a big white box in the bottom left? And they go, yeah, I do. And I say, great. What that is showing you is the level or the stage of magnification you have set for the focus aid. There are 3 levels, 1x, 5x, and 10x. Well, 1x is the full view, meaning there is no magnification. So even if you have turned if you have focus aid on automatic, you've turned the focus ring of your lens, but you don't see it actually magnifying, that's because you have it set to 1x. So you need to turn the thumb wheel on the back of the camera, 1 click, you can press play now.
Yep.
1 click to go to 5x and it'll look like that. 2 clicks to go to 10x, it'll look like that. So in the bottom left. So if you have focus aid on either manual or automatic and you're enabling it and you're not actually seeing any change to the magnification, look out for that white box that fills the outer frame. If you see that, that means you need to turn your thumb dial either 1 stop or 1 click or 2 clicks to enable the different levels of magnification, which are then sticky. The camera remembers whatever magnification that you used last. So the next time focus aid is enabled, that's what comes up. So I just wanted to cover that. So here we have the fundamental advantage of an EVF also, which is all of the settings that you can change in the camera, you can do while the camera is still up to your eye. ISO, menu settings, all that stuff, everything. The camera can be fully operated without ever taking it down from your eye. Whereas
He's changing the aperture.
Yeah.
Here, this is what we're looking for.
Let's see. We stopping down here?
After the ISO.
Okay, ISO.
Okay, here.
So now Brandon's going to stop the aperture down, right?
He is right there.
There. See, now you can see how the depth of field increases. So again,
Yep. Look at that difference.
something we never could do with just looking through the rangefinder is actually seeing the depth of field changing.
Yeah, and you can
time.
watch there. So that shot, that's a 1.4, and you can see he's stopping down, stopping down, stopping down. You know, and there is, I guess, f8-ish. I'll say. So definitely you're seeing the live manifestation of the effect of aperture through the exact lens, which is the 51.4 that he's using.
Yeah, I mean,
it's pretty cool.
To me, the EV1...
Oh, now he's doing the close focus. Oh, wait, no, okay, so...
Close focus?
This is close focus on the... Because the 51.4 is close focus.
Don't throw up.
Sorry.
Don't throw that.
He could have cut there, but, it's fine.
He did a very good job.
This is the uninterrupted
Thank
view.
you, Brandon, for making this happen.
There we go.
We appreciate you. David, tell Brandon how much you appreciate him.
Brandon, I really appreciate you.
See, look at that.
Look at that. Josh?
Not so much. Anyway, the EV1 is the sum total of all the things we had to go through from the 240 with the EVF2 all the way to the M11 with the Visoflex 2. It is the perfected M lens embody EVF experience. It gives you the highest quality EVF with the ability to focus, control composition, experience depth of field, and change all the settings while still using a camera that feels familiar if you've spent a year or 5 years or 50 years shooting with an M.
Yeah.
Now, we need to keep going because
Sure.
we're running
out of time. All right.
Talk to me, David, about the other EVF cameras. We've covered all the M EVFs. We know what that's like.
Okay.
There's, in 18 minutes, I need you to cover for me
And go.
every single...
Oh my gosh.
Okay, let me just start by saying this.
Prompt. Give me the prompt. Give me the prompt.
If the M camera used the EVF as an accessory,
Yes.
the SL camera was built around the EVF.
Wow. That is deep.
Thank you.
That is heavy.
So take us through in a very short amount of time.
I will give you the abbreviated version.
What is SL and why SL need it? Yeah.
Me. Okay. So, a long time ago, back 10 years ago now, Leica introduced in 2015, I guess, going on 11 years.
Right.
In October of 2015, they introduced the SL Type 601, and it was a full frame, interchangeable, mirrorless camera from the ground up. You don't have an SL 601, do you?
No, I don't have an SL 601.
Anyway, it looked kind of like this, right? Oh, I have a filter on that one. It's kind of like this, right? This is an SL3. So when the first SL came out, and again, this was 11 years ago, and I walked you through kind of the buildup of the viewfinders and all that and the resolution. When the original SL came out, talk about kind of really setting the bar high. That camera came out with a 4.4 million dot EVF with the same size eye cup, actually has not changed. So this huge eye cup with great magnification, a massive, beautiful view through the lens in a rugged body. But like Josh says, kind of built around this huge viewfinder, very, very massive viewfinder. And that 4.4 million dot viewfinder still looks good today. It's still higher resolution than this, right? Than the M11 Visoflex.
Yeah, the SL601, I just had one in the shop the other day that we sold, and obviously I had to test it out. It holds up really well.
It really does. It's very modern.
It really, really does.
It's got a Maestro 2 processor, whatever. It's rugged, it's responsive, and the viewfinder is amazing. And, Leica had been asked one of these LSI meetings, predating that. I was like, well, when's Leica going to come with a mirrorless? And they were very honest. And they said, well, we'll come out with it when the technology has reached a point of maturity that we feel is up to our standards. And at that time, when that Q&A went on, there was 1 million dot viewfinders were just coming on the market. And that was not enough for Leica. And we saw 2.4 million dot. Nope, that's not enough. 3 nope, that's not enough. We need a 4.5 million dot, and they called it an iRes viewfinder. That it looked so good that it was like a retina style screen, but in a camera, and just held up fantastically. And then we saw the SL2, which actually kept the same viewfinder, right?
No,
it upgraded to
it went from the 4.4 megapixel LCD to the 5.76 megapixel
5.76.
OLED, which they kept for the SL3.
Right, they kept that one for the
yeah.
Okay, so that was an upgrade in 2019. That we've had now this high quality 5.7 megapixel, roughly, OLED viewfinder on the SL2 and the SL3, and they are phenomenally good. And that experience is the one that I'm most familiar with because I'm primarily shooting with the SL system for the last 10 years for the bulk of my landscape photography, which is the bulk of my photography. And it has been a joy to use for landscape work, for travel photography, for everything, because it's that what you see is what you get experience, and just being able to see the world through that viewfinder really helps, especially with the focus aids, with the highlight warnings and the exposure previews, etc. It's just great.
Yeah, and the SL experience, of course, in addition to all the focus aids, has autofocus, right? So
Wait, what?
Yes, I
All
know.
this time I haven't been using
And I
autofocus?
thought this video was really cool, which is why I'm tangenting a little bit.
Sorry, I didn't even think you were going there.
I
I'll show
commend
you
Brandon
this.
for doing this. He actually we can see something in the SL EVF that you're never going to see in any of the M EVFs, which is
Jose.
Oh my gosh, it's Jose. Let's press play. This is actually the tracking with the eye/face detection.
The newest iteration.
Is this the right one?
Yeah.
There we go. Okay, there we go.
So you'll notice it finds his body and it finds his head. And then when he turns around...
Oh, this is not the same. This is not the right one.
No, he hasn't activated tracking yet.
Oh, there we go. No.
So, no, he hasn't activated tracking. So this is just in the non-tracking mode. In fact,
Okay. I didn't see the whole video.
No,
yet,
you didn't see the whole video.
Sorry.
So then he's showing this. This is just like normal. And then watch, he's going in here.
Good
Going
job.
into now the new tracking mode. So this is updated on the last firmware. And now watch how sticky it is versus the first iteration. Now, even with Jose small in the finder, it is just sticking to him like glue. And you notice the green is his eye that's closest to us.
That's pretty cool.
So even with the camera up to his face and away from his face, it is never losing track of Jose.
Look at those luscious locks.
Those luscious
blowing in
locks.
the-
Look
blowing
at
in the wind.
So this is actually right.
I
So-
think the next new question in the chat is what conditioner does Jose use, I think.
It's a secret.
okay.
the secret. Anyway.
So what's cool about
Yes,
that,
yes,
I
yes.
actually I knew about the. I know you're like, wait, but it's not.
Yeah, sorry. Well, that's cool.
That was a curveball.
Yeah, I
So-
like that.
So what he wanted to show was just the default behavior of the face and body detection, but without actually activating autofocus. Just so it kind of previews that it's following that frame around, and then as soon as he puts in the tracking, as long as you keep the shutter pressed halfway pressed down, or you're shooting, like it just sticks and does not let go.
That's awesome. Love
Despite
that.
Jose putting a camera up to his face, lowering it down, it's still recognized and locked onto that subject. So that's really cool. That's in the latest version 4 firmware. So
We probably should take some questions, but I think what we've tried to do is demonstrate the rangefinder, which is the optical system that Leica is using now, compared to the EVF. I realize now that 2 hours is probably not enough to talk about this.
How crazy is that?
I really did not expect.
I expect
swear
it.
I didn't expect
No.
this was going to happen,
No.
but here we are.
Here we are.
But of course, this is a topic we can bring up and discuss on a lot of different shows in a lot of different ways, so it doesnto end here.
No, but we should mention while we're just on the topic, and it doesn't have to be a crazy tangent.
Yeah.
But the Q I think needs
Sure,
to be
sure.
needs to be brought up because it is also an EVF only camera, and also somewhat unique in the space because it has the fixed either 28 or 43 millimeter lens. It is also now in its third iteration, the Q3, the Q3 43, and they share the same well, not exactly the same, but the same high resolution OLED panel that we're getting in the Q is also a fantastic experience. Big upgrade, even from what was the original Q116?
Original Q, I wrote this down, was 3.68 million dots,
Okay.
and they stuck with 3.68 to the Q2, but made it an OLED.
Yep.
And then they went to the 5.76 OLED for the Q3, Q3 43, Q3 monochrome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Sweet. Yeah, the Q3 EVF is a joy, and it makes sense that, excuse me, we have similar specs in the EV1, wherever the EV1 went. Oh, it's over here, which is pretty equally joyous to use. I love the EV1. I took it to a car show last weekend, and I shot around with it a fair bit with an Octolux 0.95 and the 90 Summilux 1.5, and I loved it. I had the focus aid on automatic, no focus peaking, just magnification, polarizers on both lenses, and I just shot my pants off for 4 or 5 hours on a beautiful Sunday morning and surrounded by Porsches. It was great. But Jose, can you please ask us some questions if there are any burning ones?
All right.
What?
I'm going to ask the question first.
Oh, go ahead.
Which we were going to mention this, and I know it always comes up again of how do you accurately set the diopter in an EVF?
Oh, can I give the super one sentence answer, please?
Go.
If you want to accurately set your diopter correction in a camera that has an electronic viewfinder, do not look at an image in live view or in playback. Simply activate the menu
show you.
and adjust the diopter until the text is sharp. Simple as that. So don't rely on a picture to get that to be as sharp as possible,
I'm going to
simply press the
exact-
menu button, look at the menu in the EVF, and then turn the diopter until the text and the lines in the menu, all that sort of what should be tack sharp is tack sharp, and that's how you know your diopter is locked in.
Oh, where is it?
That's okay. I don't want to get hung up on that. So Jose, questions, go.
Okay. And,
Right here.
No, they get it, David. We don't have to
I'm saying, but like they need, if they could just bring up a screen like that and see if it's sharp with text. That's
yes,
what you want.
that's the key.
Yep.
Jose, go. Oh yeah, that. Okay, there.
There you go.
Just look at that. Look at the text. Look at the lines. Wait to adjust the adapter until that's sharp, and you're golden. But questions time.
okay. Will Leica update the magnifiers for the M10 and M11 viewfinder thread? I mean,
I doubt that.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
don't think
not
so.
that we know what their future plans are, but they would have done it
doubt
by
it.
now.
I doubt
They've
it.
had a long time to do it, so no, I don't think so. Just if you really want to magnify, optically, you just get the adapter, the magnifier with the thread adapter, and you make it
Yeah.
work.
I guess briefly, please discuss the pros and cons of focus peaking with the EVFs. Well, I guess the other question was with the focus peaking.
Yeah.
That was another. Yeah.
Well, David and I, while we don't use focus peaking, David did have a minor revelation in the last show, which is, and I'll make this very short. Focus peaking shows you the areas of highest contrast. On a very sharp lens, on a very high contrast lens, it is less useful because there'll be a lot of focus peaking going on. And I find that just using my eye with the magnification helps. However, on very low contrast lenses, the focus peaking can be useful because it can show you areas that are indeed in focus, which David discovered using the 180 Apo Elmerit R, which, while an excellent lens, is pretty low contrast. So
Relative.
lenses like the original or the steel room issue, vintage glass, 28 Summilux,
51.2 Noctilux.
right? Lenses that are relatively low contrast.
51.4 Classic.
Exactly.
Yep.
Focus peaking is more useful, but I really encourage you to experiment in a controlled environment with and without focus peaking to see where you're most comfortable. If the magnification is just enough, I would also recommend trying the different colors of the focus peaking because some people are just experience it better with blue or green, for example. And it also depends on subject matter. But as a rule, we generally do not use focus peaking. Every now and then it does prove useful. So certainly familiarize yourself with it to understand when those situations may
And I'll
occur.
say what's kind of a convenient way to control that Leica introduced on the EV1 is the repurposing the frame line selector to be a function lever. And the thing is that if you assign the function lever to focus peaking, you can easily and quickly just toggle it on and off. And I think that's really useful because you don't have to dig through the menu.
Yeah.
You don't have to take yourself out of the
And any of the
photographing.
cameras that you see on this table, any of the current ones, you can set focus
function
peaking
button,
to a
yeah.
function button if you want to be able to just bounce it on
That's
and
true.
off very easily.
Yeah. Yeah, you could use the top button
Yeah.
or something.
Go.
All right. Is there a way to turn off the auto magnifying in manual focus on the Q343?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, you just turn it. It's called, I'll tell you exactly where real quick.
Focus aid.
You go to, hold on. It's in here somewhere. It's in your capture assist. Well, this is going to depend. I'm talking about firmware 4.0. You can turn, oh wait, they moved it. Hold on.
Not there anymore.
That's so funny. We haven't done a video on the new firmware yet for a very good reason. Let me see here. Well, you want to, hold on, where the
Do you
heck
want me
is
to look for it?
No, it's in the, oh, here we go. It's in focus, okay, it's in the focusing menu now.
You can show the top down.
Okay, well, sorry. I don't want to give you the wrong answer, so forgive me for taking a moment here. Okay, so we go focusing, scroll down, auto magnification, off.
There you go.
That's it. There you go. Okay, sorry.
Cool.
Next question.
Let's see. I think that was it.
No question.
I saw some other ones in there. What you talking about? Well, somebody asked, I think this question is interesting. Do you think it's possible for Leica to develop an EVF focus aid that simulates a rangefinder patch or an SLR split prism? I'm sure it's possible. I don't think it would be as useful as we would think it might be.
I don't think a rangefinder patch is doable because you'd have to have a second camera.
Well, it would be simulated, that's all. It would just be that they would fake it. Which
fake sliding the middle of the...
Yeah.
Okay.
Which I don't know. I mean, just if you want a rangefinder patch, then buy a rangefinder. Leica makes a lot of them, so you've got options. Anything else floating around in there?
No.
Well, that's good
Battery's
because
quite
it's
small.
9:56. So
Wow. Okay. Anything else that we forgot?
we
to
covered a
mention?
lot of ground. I think we talked about all the events. I actually wrote a list this time, so I wouldn't forget.
Oh, a list.
There's one thing to mention though.
The new video on the
Yes.
channel.
Yes, you should check out the new video that Colin just did on how to safely and effectively clean your
say,
Leica,
put a link in the chat.
your Leica sensor
Yeah.
or your sensor in your Leica camera.
Yeah.
So he has kind of a step-by-step guide on how to clean an M and an SL sensor. You don't have to clean a Q sensor because it's inside the camera.
That's right. Also, if you do enjoy all of our pre-owned nerdiness, number one, sign up for the pre-owned spotlight email. Number two, I was on vacation for a bit at the end of the year, and upon my return, I have been furiously adding lots of really cool new stuff to the pre-owned department at leicastormiami.com. So if you, as David will mention, I'm sure, but if you like our content and you want to find the best pre-owned inventory around that has been the most meticulously tested and carefully, perfectly assembled and cleaned, check out leicastormiami.com's pre-owned stuff. I mean, I've got an EV1 on there. I've got a Q2 reporter on there right now. I've got a beautiful 35 Summilux pre-FLE that was just CLA'd. Like,
You're talking, and I can
tons and tons and tons of cool new arrivals
I can show you.
in the used department. Oh, you can. That's right.
Look at all this cool stuff.
21 lux. I got a couple of cool TL lenses, including the 60 macro TL. I've got a Betriebs. This is really cool. Like it did 180 Betriebs CL, digital camera CLs with the Betriebs engraving on top. I wrote a little story about it if you find that, if you want to see it. So if you want a really cool, really different, but subtly different, not really different, CL, it also happens to be like a full set, mint box complete. This is really, really cool. So yeah, I'm always adding just accessories. There's our Q2 reporter. We have certified lux strips. Anyway, tons and tons of stuff now that I've been back from my travels that I've just been putting on the site.
Phenomenal deal, by the way, on SL2.
SL2, SL3, M11P, M11.
Tons of stuff.
Everything you could ever want and more. So anyway, just a quick shout out to myself for putting on on the website.
Shout out to myself.
Over the last couple of weeks that I've been back.
Wow.
I spent 10 marvelous days on the West Coast.
There's actually a trophy outside that I'm gonna
That's
get to
what the
Josh.
trophy is
Yeah,
for.
yeah.
I knew it. I knew it. You want to sign us off?
No, but I'll do it anyway.
All right.
Because I'm just having so much fun.
Can you sign us off?
I
please?
could.
Okay,
I can. I think I'm able to.
Okay.
So yeah, check out the new video that we posted there on how to clean your Leica sensor. We've got some more cool videos coming out. So you want to make sure that you are subscribed to the channel and you click the notification bell so you know when we post cool new how-to videos, reviews, or our interesting faces coming to you live on a random Saturday night. And by the way, when is our next episode?
February 21st, I think. Hold on.
Sounds about right.
Right, Jose?
We'll go with that.
February 21st. Saturday, February 21st is our next show.
It'll be the Josh almost birthday episode.
That's right. A week before my birthday.
Yeah, so you guys should send Josh something nice.
Sugar is good. Vintage Leica literature is always good.
Cookies.
Cookies are good.
He likes cookies, yeah.
Fruit baskets are fine. Just anything you want.
Anything you want.
Totally fine.
All right, so make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you missed previous Red Dot Forum Camera Talk episodes, do not worry. Do not fear, because we have all of the previous episodes we have ever done archived for your viewing pleasure in full 4K resolution on YouTube. You can check out the playlist either of everything. We also have it broken down into systems and various subject matter, so it's a little easier to find and digest. But we have done, I don't know, close to 100 episodes-ish. Chances are, if you're looking for Leica information, we probably talked about it. So definitely check that out. You can also go to red.forum.com, the website, not the YouTube, for the latest Leica news, reviews, firmware articles, etc., which I promise I will get to the 4.0 firmware thing soon because I'm a slacker.
You've been busy, okay?
Working on other things.
Doing stuff.
And that. So I think that's it. So we will see you
February 21st.
in a little bit less than a month.
Well, no, we're going to see you next week at the KEH event at the Leica store. Then we're going to see you on March 12th at the gallery opening.
Not all of them.
Better.
Not
Yes.
all of them.
Okay, fine.
All right. Anyway, we will be back here in a few weeks for another exciting episode. Do not miss it. Mark your calendars now. And big thanks to Josh for his boundless knowledge of parts,
Random knickknacks and bric-a-brac.
bric-a-brac. Thanks to Jose for his gorgeous modeling and producing.
Thank you.
Now you got to see the full-length Jose experience, which is it's a lot. And and if, again, maybe we didn't mention this. I know Josh talked about the great use inventory, but the absolute best way to support us, yeah, we like thumbs ups, we like subscriptions, but the best way to support this channel and us is to make your Leica purchases and Leica adjacent purchases at Leica Store Miami. We are independently owned and operated, and it's what pays for all of this because you guys don't pay for this wonderful YouTube information. So if you're considering picking up something new, trading in, whatever, please give us a ring or an email or visit the website at leicastoremiami.com.
That's right.
And I think with that, have a great rest of the weekend and welcome to 2026. It's going to be an exciting year for all things Leica.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.
Good night, guys.